Hopefully my coughing just now didn't go on the air. Good morning. Good morning to Uncle Rich. Ooh, I should have waited a little longer for the coffee, but I did not want to leave you waiting any longer. Already 11 minutes late. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. It's trash day. What is up? I don't know why I'm late. I was up early. I just kind of lost track of time. I've been up for an hour and a half and just time got away. So we've got a full chat. Rich, Herman, Victor, good morning all. Ed is with us. Good morning, Jenny, John. What is up? Jenny says, Rich, I met a guy that co-owns our new LCS, and he does the Dallas show a lot. Asked if he knew you. He has met you. Very cool. One of my vendors posted on Facebook last night, and he does a lot of shows here in Wisconsin. He's thinking about doing the next Dallas show. So I'm like, man, we should do one together, but I don't have a Dallas show in my plans this year. Although maybe by the end of the year. I haven't decided, but Dallas is definitely on the schedule for 2023, but maybe even winter 2022. Like November, December, if there's a show, if there's a whatever month the big show is in Dallas at the end of the year. And it doesn't affect it doesn't go on the same weekend as my show. Scotty Dubs in the house. What's up, Cooter? Good morning. Jenny says the guy that co-owns it lives over in Wisconsin. He does grading. I told him he needs to hit the Madison show. Very cool. We're at in Wisconsin. I assume one of the border cities, towns in Wisconsin, up along Minnesota. What's up, Zach and Porter? Good morning. Let's see. Dan, what is up? He is in the U.S. First live show from the U.S. Very cool. Dan made it. Mark is in the house. Good morning. Both Marks are in the house. What is up? ATX Treasure Chest. Good morning. So last night, the All-Star game, did not watch a second of it. Which yesterday I said I might not even watch any of it. I did turn some of the pregame show stuff on. I was in my rec room and I flipped it on, but it was, like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. So it was well before the actual game. I didn't even watch like the announcements or the anthem, which is typically what I do is I'll watch like the pregame stuff. I'll watch the anthem and the player announcements, and then maybe like the first inning, and then I'm done. I didn't even do that last night. We had here's my food talk. My wife made that salmon. I don't even know it's some type of. I know there's panko and some other like seasonings. It's very delicious. So she made that. So we had salmon, asparagus, and gnocchi. What else did we have? Yes, gnocchi. Salmon, gnocchi, and asparagus. And then we ended up did like some Netflix last night. I don't think it was Netflix. It was whatever streaming platform Only Murders in the Building is on, which, by the way, if you haven't watched Only Murders in the Building, I freaking love it because I love Steve Martin. I like Martin Short. I don't love Martin Short. I love Steve Martin. I don't love Martin Short, but I really do enjoy him. But I love The Jerk, one of my all-time favorite movies. But Steve Martin's not like The Jerk Steve Martin. He's a little more refined in Only Murders in the Building. And then who's the Mabel? The female lead is what's her name? Selena? I can't remember. But awesome. Yeah, this is the second season, and I enjoy it. Only Murders in the Building. Check it out. Mark M says, I didn't miss much. Fall Creek says, finally caught a live show. What's up? It's been a while. Mark Hoyle says, no All-Star game for me. My poll was 50-50 watching it or not. Dan says, I've not been getting enough sleep first few nights. I'm not surprised. I am not surprised. I mean, I don't get good sleep when I fly across the country, which is, 1, 2, or 3 time zones. Well, for me, it's at most 2 time zones because I don't fly from coast to coast. But I have difficulty sleeping for a couple nights when I fly central to the West Coast. So in those Europe trips, I'm not surprised whatsoever. I had a dipped hot beef sandwich last night. Johnny Boy Cards, good morning to you. Jenny says Buxton for the homer. Who would have thought? Cooter says only made it 2 innings before Bush League uniforms made me physically sick and I turned it off. Mark says planes, trains, and automobiles. Steve Martin is the best. I love Steve Martin. I think The Jerk is probably one of my all-time favorite movies. If I had, I don't know if I could have a top 5 because I think they're interchangeable. But The Jerk is The Jerk I can watch. There's few movies that I can like actually watch over and over again and still laugh at the same points and just really enjoy the movie. The Jerk is one of those. Christmas Vacation is another. In fact, I'll watch it a dozen times every December. Let's see, what else is there? Those two. Back to the Future. I can watch Back to the Future over and over again. So there's 3. The Goonies and Stand By Me used to be like that, but I just now, like, the Goonies is on all the frickin' time. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. It's on all the time also, but again, it's not like, so I don't know, maybe just those 3 movies. I'll have to think more on that, but The Jerk, Christmas Vacation, and what was the third movie I said? Back to the Future. But only the original. Back to the Future 2 and 3, it's just kind of like, I enjoy them. 3, not so much. Back to the Future 2, definitely. Not Back to the Future 3. I'm not into the Wild West. I don't like those times. But 2 was futuristic. 1 was the 50s, which was, that's just a cool era. And of course, it was made in the mid 80s. And I love the mid 80s. Let's see. Where are we at in the chat? Victor says, wow, healthy dinner. I had Lou Malnati's and watched a couple of innings. Great show. Love Steve Martin and Martin Short. DR says, morning. That collector isn't available this weekend. So it looks like I will be heading to Cooperstown for the Hall of Fame induction card show. Very nice. Well, hey, it worked out. That's like a win-win situation. If you buy a collection, that's a win. If not, you go to Cooperstown and hey, next weekend you buy the collection. Win-win. Let's see. Dan says, see the weather in Europe without AC. Yikes. Yeah. I was reading an article and I know our friend John, both of our friends, John Evans and John Keating in the UK. I think Heathrow Airport hit 104, like 104.4 Fahrenheit. I saw like Porto hit 116, I think. And then Madrid was at like 108, which if you're in Arizona, you're like, so what? That's just, or Texas, that's just, so what? That's every summer for us, but not so in the UK. When we were in Italy, we went in September, thinking, hey, it's going to be cool. It's still going to be warm, but cooler. And it was most of our trip, like we were there for 13, 14 days. I think 12 of the 14 days, it was in the either upper 80s or into the 90s. And when we were down south along the Amalfi Coast, it was in the mid 90s. And holy cow, it was scorching hot. And without air conditioning, it's like we took a boat trip along the coast and we'd stop in Amalfi. And I always forget the small town, the picturesque towns along the coast, and it's like you've been on a boat in the sun. Now you want to get out of the heat, but there's no air conditioning. And it's even worse. You go inside a shop and it's just now it's hot and stuffy because there's no airflow. So, and then the last we were in Venice for the last 2 days and it was like 60 and it's like, it's freaking cold. Let's see. Mark, let's see, Victor, Dan, where are we at here? Mark Hoyle says, you heading to Massachusetts, Dan? Cooter says, so the question for Dan is whether he is enjoying a bourbon for today's live stream. Herman says Sandlot and Indy the Friday the 13th. Sandlot's pretty close. I can't watch it. Like the Sandlot I can only watch, I think, in the summer months, and I can only watch it a couple times. That's my but the Sandlot is definitely a movie. Like there's some movies you don't want to watch a second time. You've seen it once and it's like, I don't want to watch it again. There are many, many, many movies that I will watch multiple times. But there's also that point where it's like, I'll watch it, but it's like the Sandlot, maybe I watched it last week or 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. And it's like, I just watched it last month. Friday the 13th, great movies. Again, those are movies that I'll watch multiple times. Three Amigos. Yes. Three Amigos. Three Amigos, one of my first movies to watch on VHS, not beta. So we had, when I was growing up, my parents bought a beta player. Is that what you call them? A beta machine, beta player, whatever it was. And this was, beta came out. Did beta and VHS come out around the same time? I can't remember the timeline. I was really young, like 4 years old. But our first video playing machine was a beta. And is beta like those big, like plastic, they just big floppy disk, not the CD looking things. Those must be laser discs. So we bought a beta machine, and for some reason it wouldn't work. It would work at the TV. Like this is back when you didn't buy your electronics from Walmart and Radio Shack. Well, maybe Radio Shack, Walmart or Target. But you went to like small town mom and pop TV shops. So we bought it from in Kewanee at one of the local TV stores, and it worked. It worked at the store, and we took it home, plugged it in. I remember we bought 2 movies with the beta player. One was Pee-wee's Big Top, or whatever the Pee-wee Herman movie was. Oh, I couldn't wait to watch it, and wouldn't work. So we went back. It must have been a Saturday. We went back to the store, like, hey, it doesn't work. Now, in hindsight, I'm sure it was a simple fix. Neither of my parents, and my dad passed away a few years ago, my parents still don't know how to record on the VCR. My mom still doesn't know how to work a VCR. So if you want to get into I'm actually shocked when I go home and she now has a Roku, and I'm shocked that she figures out how to work some of those apps. Anyway, we took it back, still didn't work. They're like, okay, do this, this, and this. Take it back home, still doesn't work. We return it. I don't have a beta machine, and I can't watch Pee-wee's Playhouse or Big Top Pee-wee or whatever the movie was. Then we got a VCR at some point. I can't remember. But I will tell you, the first VCR machine that we bought, it was an Emerson. And that thing was built like a tank. And it survived. Like, I think it worked until I was in college. And I was probably in kindergarten when we bought that thing. And now eventually the VCRs, of course, when was the last time they made a VCR? But the later VCRs were, cheap plastic. You could buy them for $20, $30 brand new. They lasted a year, 2 years, whatever. So that's my beta story. Paige and Dina Bean, what is up? Good morning. Jenny says, when does John come back from the UK? I think he's there like all month, so I think he's still there for another week. Let's see. Dan tells Mark he's heading there on July 27th. I think my sister said I would have to meet anyone Friday morning, afternoon, have to recheck what she said. Let's see, where are we at? John Evans, there you go. Hopefully he's keeping cool. We don't have the infrastructure for that sort of heat, but it's a lot cooler today. That's good. Let's see. Dan says, thanks for the photo of Frank, by the way. Yes, Frank was out mowing yesterday. So I sent a couple listeners, viewers, a picture of Frank mowing. Here's a visual of Frank mowing. Here's the funny thing about Frank. He mowed yesterday, and I was walking around the house, might have been yesterday morning or Monday, and I'm like, I should mow, but we're not supposed to get much rain. I don't want to mow, and burn the lawn. So I'm like, I'm just gonna wait. And then here we have Frank mowing, and he only mowed like the outside, like the border of his backyard, and he mowed the front yard, but then the backyard, it was like he mowed in like a square. He mowed like he did like 6 turns, and it's like he didn't mow the interior of his backyard. I don't know why. I should ask. Let's see. Dan says Shawshank Redemption, a movie he can watch over and over. I actually just had that on. It was on. I'm sure it's on. It's probably another movie that's on TV all the time. It was on the other day, and I get to the point where I'm flipping through the apps, and it's like I'll go from YouTube TV. We don't have cable or dish. We have the YouTube TV, which I love YouTube TV, by the way. I'll flip through. That's like the live, and you get your locals, and you get ESPN and all the stuff you need, that I need, my wife needs. And then I'll go to, usually the next is Netflix, and then I'll go through, and it's like, oh, no, there's nothing on Netflix. Then I'll go to Amazon Prime. Nope, there's nothing on Amazon Prime. Then I go to Hulu. Nope, nothing on Hulu. Then I go to Peacock. Don't really want to watch anything on Peacock. Then I go to HBO Max. Nothing on HBO Max. We had Apple TV. We had a trial of Apple TV. I don't think we're paying for it anymore, or I don't think we're not paying for it. I don't think we have, but we pay for all of those freaking. So it's like we dropped cable for YouTube TV to pay less, but we just used that savings to buy more apps. So we're spending the same amount of money on TV. It's just now we are diversifying, and we're spending that money on other apps as well. Mark Marinello says Godfather, Goodfellas, and A Bronx Tale are my top 3. Cooter says Betamax was the first. Must have been Betamax. I can't remember when it was. I mean, VCRs came out like probably in the early 80s. When did betas come out? I can't remember. Mark's first VCR, $300 in 1982. See, we didn't get a VCR. So the beta, and it was a couple years. I think my mom was pissed off at the whole beta issue. And so it was a couple more. I don't think we got our first VCR until like 1988, maybe 87. But I think we were in my dad built a house when I was young. And I think we were in that house, which I think we moved in like 1987. So it might have been like a housewarming gift a family housewarming gift. Here's a VCR. Dan says, I'm pretty sure Pee-wee's Big Adventure as the first movie, Big Top is part 2. So it must have been Big Adventure. I'm pretty sure it was Big Adventure was the movie that we bought. Herman says, in the clocks blinking 12 o'clock. Yeah. Always. And then I would reset them, and then they live in my mom lives in a small town, and like they lose and I don't know, because I don't really have much experience but when I grew up in the small town, we lost power. Like every storm, we would lose power. And I don't know if it's like that in other places, whether if it's in other rural places, because then once I moved to like a city, I never had that. Like, I don't think we've ever lost. I've lived in Madison for 8 years now, and I don't think I've ever lost power like for longer than a minute or 30 seconds. So I don't know if losing power is like a small, like rural, if they have overhead power lines, and that's the issue, because I know we had overhead power lines. So it's like if one line gets, struck, it just affects everybody. But yeah, and then the VCR would blink 12 o'clock. Dan says, I wonder if Frank knows he is hobby famous. Jenny says, oh, where are we at? Maybe Frank watches your show and mowed that way to give you content. Hey, that could be. He could be watching. I think he's on Facebook, though. I think he is on Facebook. So he may know how to work the internet. Maybe Frank was getting a heat stroke. It wasn't that well. It was kind of warm yesterday. It wasn't like hot heat. Paige and Dina Bean says, by the way, Vin Scully cards come with a baseballism Vin Scully t-shirt. That's pretty cool. Jenny says, I watched the recording of the first episode of the Jeter documentary. Anyone else see it? Definitely a good watch. I saw a commercial for it, but I did not watch any of it. Cooter says, per his podcast, Dr. Jim traded a 52 Topps Mantle for a Betamax machine back in the day. I remember hearing him share that on his podcast. Low Roller Scratcher, what is up? He's happy. Bitcoin is back. Jenny says, are your power lines underground at your house now? Yeah, I think that, there's no power lines. So yeah, they are. Non-underground go out easy. They can blink if a squirrel runs on it. Yeah. And that's growing up. All of our power lines were, on towers or whatever. So in country, you have non-underground. Let's see. Mark says, when I lived in Manhattan, I lost power a lot. Once I moved to New Jersey, rarely lost power. Interesting. So Low Roller wants to know how much I paid for the new Goodwill pallet. Okay, so we're going to get into the Goodwill pallet. I bought another one, a 6th Goodwill pallet. So this will be my 6th Goodwill pallet, which will be roughly 750,000 cards I've bought from Goodwill this year. So it's about 750,000 cards that I picked up from Goodwill this year. So this pallet, there's some good stuff. They always sprinkle in, and here's the thing about the Goodwill pallets, the pictures they send. There's always like good cards on the top, like, oh, here's some vintage, just a little tease. But the best cards that I've pulled out of these pallets have not been the cards that are laying on top. They're, tucked away, hidden. But there's some 70s basketball. There's a Phil Jackson, 74 Topps Phil Jackson card. There's a couple other basketball 70s cards. There's I think it's a Tony Oliva 1970 Topps card. Kevin Garnett, like one of the classic 4-sport rookie cards, pre-rookie cards, I guess. There's a Lamar Jackson relic numbered to like 35. What else was there that I'm trying? There's a few Tom Brady cards, and I don't know football designs or years, but I think based on the Topps card, I think it's like 2008. So it's not early time. Well, I guess in the grand scheme of Tom Brady's career, I guess 2008 would be considered more on the early side than current, since he's still going. Nothing outlasts Tom Brady. So there's some good stuff on the top. Movies in the hobby again, Goodwill Hunting. Dan says, the most impressive thing about you buying your 6th Goodwill pallet is the fact that your wife is still with you. I didn't tell her about this one. Actually, I just kind of like, it's like we don't share every detail of our this is my business. It's not like, it would be different if I was just buying a pallet of baseball cards to collect. But this is a business for me. So it's another business transaction. So, and she's much more understanding now that I do this full time, as opposed to this is your hobby. Why are you, buying another pallet of cards? Dan says today is Wednesday, right? I plan to stop by the LCS today to say hello. Doubt I'll buy anything. Maybe look for some White Sox singles or something else to give some support. Very nice. Which card shop are you hitting up? Low Roller says you can list more basketball cards since you got more Goodwill pallets. What if there's no basketball cards? Then I can't list them. How much does the Goodwill pallet cost? Slow your roll, low roll. Slow your roll, low roller. That's a tongue twister. Dan, you going to be in Madison? Brady should have an Energizer endorsement. It is garbage day. No recycling day, which kind of works. So I'll hopefully I'll be able to pick the pallet up today, because I do recycle a lot of, like, there's a lot of there's a lot of stuff that I throw away out of these pallets, whether they're actual cards that are just damaged, or it's like, a lot of them come in, Trapper Keepers or cigar boxes, just random small boxes that, it's like, some boxes I reuse, but donations from Goodwill, older cardboard box, I'm just going to toss them in the recycle bin. So it kind of works out because I won't be picking up this until after the truck comes through. And of course, I need a few days, and it's card show week. So by the time it's recycling day, I'll be able to fill it up with some of the stuff out of this pallet. Let's see. So it is garbage day. It is garbage day. Wednesday, garbage day. Low Roller says you got some 1970. Yeah, I mean, for all I know, there's 4 basketball cards in the entire pallet. Now, there's going to be more, but basketball cards aren't selling. I'm not even looking at listing basketball cards until like November. Basketball is just the basketball market is so soft right now. I do have a stack of football that football is going to be my next file exchange at some point, because today I'll focus on shipping in the morning, and then maybe I'll hammer out a file exchange update just to get some football in the store before I pick the pallet up. And then tomorrow I'll go to the Sheraton to do some pre-prep for this Saturday show. By the way, I'm gonna circle back. We're gonna talk Goodwill pallets. So Low Roller, you'll get your Goodwill fill. Madison Card Show this Saturday, Sheraton Hotel on John Nolan Drive. 120 tables. I am sold out, and the waiting list is building. I think I've got at least a half dozen dealers on the waiting list. So it's sold out. In fact, I had a guy who's got some really cool stuff, and I want to get him in the show. He's got a lot of like vintage sealed wax, which is you don't see much at any card show really. So he reached out and he's like, hey, I saw you're sold out, but is there any way, like, he's like, I can bring my own card table. He's like, it doesn't even have to be 6 or 8 foot. Like, if you only got 4 feet of space for me, I'll bring a 4-foot table. And I'm like, I can do a 6-foot table. I'll squeeze you in somewhere. He's like, so he's going to pay for a spot and bring his own table. The problem I run into, it's not space at the Sheraton. It's tables. I use them all. I use all 120 of their tables. It's actually more tables, but some of them are like thin, so we have to double them up. So I use all 120 table spots. So I can squeeze in. I have to get creative and play some Tetris with the setup. But I can squeeze a table in here and there. And that's why I'm not going to do the third room, because it just, there's not enough tables. Like, I can fill the second room, and that's all the tables that they have. And table rentals are real pain in the rear, and I'm not going to get into that. It's because at that point it's too much. The work outweighs the benefit. And it's, at that point it's like you're trying to, it's not feasible. So anyway, Madison Card Show this Saturday, 120 sold out tables, 121 sold out tables. 9 to 3 free admission. Going to be a good time. Let's see. Jenny says, what if it's a pallet of scratch-offs? Dan is going to Heroes Sports Cards in Riverside on Cermak. I've never been to that shop. Low Roller says the Mega Million is up to $630 million. Dan is planning to come up to the Madison Card Show on Saturday. Very nice. And we're gonna hit up some dinner after the show, hopefully. Low Roller says you can sell some Goodwill cards, sell it in your card shop to recover your investment back. That's the plan. Been doing that every time. That's the whole plan. About to open the pantry here at work, so I have to duck off. Have a great day. You as well. So the Goodwill pallet, number six. So that's the fun part, is like digging through and finding, like I said, the best cards that I've pulled haven't been the ones they sprinkle on top as like the tease. Like, ooh, here's a 1974 Topps Phil Jackson. Here's a Lamar Jackson jersey relic. So I went back and I looked I have a top 4 from the first 5 pallets of the highest sales. So Low Roller is going to like this one. So the highest sale of an item out of a Goodwill pallet was the Mike Trout rookie card. That sold for $600. That's gross sale of $600. Second highest was a rare Marvel insert from like 1995. That sold for $400. The third highest was a lot, and it was a Marvel, a bunch of like over 1,000 Marvel cards, and it was in one of the boxes from Goodwill. And I went through to make sure there's no more $400 cards. I didn't want to list them individually, so I figured it would sell as a lot. It did. $275. And then the fourth highest sale was the ticket stub for Giannis's home debut, his rookie season. And that sold for $225. Now, the Goodwill pallets, they average around $450 per pallet. Now, this one, I think I paid $500 after tax. I paid $500 because it weighs a little more. In fact, I think it's almost 100 pounds heavier, which means more cards. Let me see what the weight was. Get out here. So the weight on this one, 573 pounds. So over 100 pounds. The last pallet I bought was 450 pounds. So this one, 573 pounds. And they said that this one is a little higher priced because I think they strategically, like past pallets, they've just like thrown it all in. And they use a Gaylord, which a Gaylord is basically a heavy duty cardboard box on a pallet. So they put all this in a Gaylord. So you're limited with space because, if you don't strategically place the boxes, the binders and everything, you're going to use up, there's going to be empty space, and you're not going to, the more pounds you get in, because they charge per pound, the more pounds you get in, the more you can charge. So, and hey, for me, like at 90 cents a pound, I'm gladly, from what I've experienced so far, I'll gladly, pay more. They didn't raise the per pound price, per pound price. Say that 5 times fast. The per pound price hasn't changed. So I'm getting more cards for the same per pound price. Hey, I said it fast that time. Didn't have to slow myself down. So it is which the back of my SUV is cleaned out, but the back seat is all my card show inventory. When I took the grass clippings out a couple weeks ago, I just moved all my card show inventory to the back seat. So now I'm going to need the back seat because it's going to take up the entire back area, especially now with an additional 100 some pounds of cards. I'm going to have to utilize most of the back seat also. So this one's probably going to be over 150,000 cards, maybe even close to 200,000 cards. I'm guessing, and that's based on like the weight and all that stuff. But I'm guessing most of the pallets have been around 125,000 cards. This one probably going to be closer to 150,000. Let's see. Dan says, planning to go to a friend's house Sunday or Monday who has stored my Mattingly PSA cards. I want to try to sell more of those off. Want to bring my Mattingly doll back with me. Very nice. Zach says, catching up. You talking about your Goodwill profits will kill the pallet business. Joking. Reference to the t-shirt video I sent you. Yeah, Zach sent me a video, which makes some great points about people talking, and I think it was specifically about Goodwill. When they're hyping up like, hey, I bought this t-shirt for $1 and sold it for 40 from Goodwill. Does that actually hurt you and bring about more competition? It does. I think it for the content creators, it brings more views. I get some great views on these Goodwill videos, but yes, and I have people, like I have strangers coming out of the woodwork asking where I get these, and I'm not going to share my secrets because they only come out once a month. And if I gave all these strangers, then I'm not going to get the Goodwill pallets, and this is a business for me. So I can't share every secret. But yeah, it will, people start hearing about this. They're going to do, these Goodwill pallets aren't going to be around forever because, maybe somebody else comes along and finds out the secret, or they just stop, Goodwill stops doing it, or maybe the price, they're like, oh, wow, we're missing out on some profits here. So there's a lot of factors that, could affect going forward. I basically, I don't take for granted each of these Goodwill pallets, because I know that this one could be the last one, because there's outside forces, whether it be competition, and maybe I create that competition. But I'm okay with that because it does keeps me on my toes. And that's what somebody tweeted. They're like, aren't you afraid that you're going to create local competition? I'm not afraid, because I know full well that it very well could happen, but it does keep me on my toes. And so could it bring about more competition? Without a doubt. Especially when you pull you pay $400 for a pallet of cards, and you pull out a Mike Trout rookie or a rare Marvel insert, and, a whole bunch of 70s cards. People all take notice. And I do try to, I want to share both sides of this. Because I don't want to come across as you're going to buy a pallet of cards and it's going to be 1,000 Mike Trout rookie cards. Like, I don't want to give off the vibes that, hey, every pallet has a $600 card, because that's not the case. I've been lucky in like I just quoted some of the sales, 4 out of the 5 pallets I've bought, I've sold an item for over $200, which is, halfway or over halfway to the cost of the actual pallet. But so I want to share like this Trapper Keeper with beat up core. There's been cards where they were cut in half, and scotch taped back together. There's cigar box, there's like grocery bags, like brown paper bags with just cards thrown in. And, sometimes they're beat to hell. And I just basically pull out the cub, because I don't care when it's a cub. I don't care if it's gem mint or fair to good. It could be beat to hell and it's going into the collection. And yes, it counts. It's still a Cubs card. It's just beat up. So I will pull out the Cubs cards. But other than that, there's a lot of stuff, and I want to share, like, hey, it's not like, I don't want to just pump up like, oh my God, this, every Goodwill pallet's going to have a $600 Mike Trout rookie card. I want to share the beat up Trapper Keepers with the bent corners and the scotch tape and all that stuff. Where are we at here in the chat? Tracy says, do you go into your local Goodwill to check, or do you find out another way when one is available? I cannot share that information. My local does not list on the Shop Goodwill auction site. Safe at home. Ed says tongue twister day on Hobby Evolution. Right? Gonna hit up the local Tasty Bakery to get some amazing Danishes. I can't get back in Korea. Very nice. Dan, I went to AU Sports Cards in Morton Grove when I was in Chicago. Let's see. Tracy says, my bad. Sorry for the question. Definitely can't wait. Definitely don't want you to give away anything. I'll check in with my local Goodwill. Rich says, okay, busy day, 2 doctor appointments and then work. Have to run home in the day to walk the dogs. Good luck at your appointments. 608 says, will you be set up this weekend? I will not be set up in Madison this weekend. Next show that I'll be set up, and I'm really building up a ton of quarter boxes. I'll be set up. My next show will be August 13th in Rockford. That'll be my next show. I'll be doing Rockford in August, and then Janesville the Sunday before Labor Day. The Sunday, like the day before Labor Day. So those are my next shows. Rich says, so you see you all tomorrow. Hit that like button. I appreciate that. Like and subscribe. Cooter says Goodwill is hiring merchandise specialists to pull out and sell higher value items because they are seeing all the YouTube videos. They've been doing that for a while. Zach forwarded me a video yesterday, and the guy was talking about that. I'm like, oh man, I'm in trouble. And then I looked at the date of the video, and it was created last year. So I think they've been doing, and I do know because when I pulled the Mike Trout rookie, like a lot of people didn't believe me. And especially when I would post it on social media, oh, that's not true. You didn't pull that, because they hire people that take those cards away. They know that that's on the list of cards they pull out. Not the case. I'm sure some areas they do have those, and I'm sure some employees that pull the cards have better knowledge on what to look for. The fun thing about bulk lots, anything can be overlooked. And I'm not talking about, look for the Mike Trout rookies, look for the Tom Brady rookies, look for old cards, vintage. But the funny thing is, you can miss non-sports cards. There can be $100 non-sports card that you would have no idea. And why do I know that? Because I've had no idea. And I just randomly oh, hey, I wonder if this is worth anything. Oh crap, this one sold for $120. There's always, the Ronald Acuna super short print out of opening day is the perfect example how cards can get overlooked even by bulk sellers and card shop owners, because I pulled that out of a bargain box, 25-cent box. The dealer that I pulled it out of had no idea what it was. He bought it in bulk from another dealer who owns a card shop. So these things get overlooked. I've put $50 cards in my 25-cent box. Somebody came up to me and they're like, hey, did you know that you got a Klay Thompson? They first asked, do you go through your bargain boxes? And I'm like, yeah, they're cherry picked. There's still some good cards in there, well worth more than a quarter. But it's unlikely to be many $10 to $20 cards. And he's like, well, I pulled a Klay Thompson rookie that sold for $50 out of your 25-cent box. And I'm like, really? And then they explained, and I'm like, I'm surprised I missed that, because I would have pulled a Klay Thompson rookie. However, what I did not know was that the Klay Thompson rookie year was that weird lockout year. And I think NBA cards had two rookie classes in the same product or whatever. So there wasn't a rookie logo on Klay Thompson rookie cards. I didn't know. It's not a rookie card, so it's going in the quarter box. It was a rookie card and it sold for $50. And he's like, I don't know if you want to know. I'm like, I really want to know that. Because it's great. It's a great story for me to share, because, hey, it happens to me sometimes. Because that's what I do. I go to 25-cent boxes looking for $50 cards. Heck yeah. Am I mad? No, I'm happy. I'm happy about that. And I'm also happy because you told me this in front of customers who are actively looking through my bargain boxes. So they hear that story and now they're inspired to sit longer and pull more cards out. There might not be another $50 card, $40 card, $20 card, but they may pull another $10 worth of cards just because they heard that story. So anyway, where are we at in the chat? John says, got to go soon. I've got a meeting on data visualization. Just think about that. You're all going to have a better day than me. Data visualization. Can you get thrift shop sports card pallets in your area? Let's see. Dan says, never been there. I don't get up that way often. Where was that shop at that Mark mentioned? Oh, Morton Grove. Where is Morton Grove? Oh, is that way up north? Morton Grove. That's around like Skokie and Highland Park, I think, isn't it? Sounds familiar. Let's see. Where are we at? Low Roller says you have plenty of $5 slabs inventory in your card show since you got new inventory cards in Goodwill pallets. I sold all my slabs out. I don't have a single slab to sell. I don't have Tongue Twister. Oh man, it's not Tuesday. Tongue Twister Wednesday. I don't have a single slab to sell. I sold all of my slabs $5 a pop at the Janesville card show last month. Is this Goodwill pallet got Pokemon? I have no idea. I'll find out. Hopefully later today. Let's see. Morton Grove near the north suburbs. Near north suburb. Okay. So it is like Skokie Highland Park because I recognize that. I've been to Skokie a couple times this summer. So I think I either drove through it or saw signs that it was nearby. Fall Creek says bought a collection of 20,000, went through it 3 to 5 times, and then discovered these 1998 Skybox Thunder Rave parallels numbered to 125, sold to 4 for 150 total. I love those finds. And, I'll go through and now I hate to look back. What year was it? Was it 2018? It must have been because it was Rafael Devers' rookie season. And he was on the Red Sox and Mark will like this story. So Rafael Devers had the Red Sox stars in Topps Heritage. Well, that year they did those stupid magenta back parallels. And I think they weren't serial numbered, but I think the print run was like very low, like 5 or 10. I don't think they were serial. I could be wrong on that, but it was a very low print run. I do know. And I did not know that I had one. I had a Rafael Devers magenta back, and it might be worth more today than what it was when I sold it. I think I bought a case of Heritage that year, but my case came like on Friday of that week. And the release day was Wednesday, and one of my local stores, actually Target or Walmart, actually had the blasters like on the day of release on the shelf. So I bought like 3 blasters just to kind of whet my appetite. And apparently I pulled that out of one of the blaster boxes. And I know that because I just put all the cards back in the blaster boxes and was just going to sit on them until I got my hobby case in. And then I was going to open the hobby case, and then I was going to consolidate everything. So the hobby case comes in a couple days later, open all the boxes. Then I get to sorting. I sort all the hobby stuff first. And then I realized I kind of forgot it was 2 weeks. This Rafael Devers magenta back rookie sat in a blaster box for about 3 weeks. And then I realized, I've got these 3 blasters worth of cards. I'm going to go through, pull out, the rookie cards and all that. I pull it out. Lo and behold, the Rafael Devers magenta back is in there, which I didn't even know I had. And I think it sold for like $125. I don't know what Devers has really came on now. It's probably worth even more. Although the magenta, some of those wacky parallels don't sell, especially like the black, the Venezuelan backs. What else? The gum stains were the worst. They did that in 2014, 15, 16, somewhere in there. Those were awful. Hated those parallels. So those are fun finds, Fall Creek. Those are fun finds when you go through and realize. I've done it with like a box of common Topps cards, and all of a sudden it's like, well, this card looks funny. Oh, it's the Independence Day variation numbered to 76, or this is the black parallel numbered to 60, or whatever it is. Those are fun finds. Highland Park. Oh, yes. Highland Park is north. I'm just because I go into when I've been down in that area, I've been to Skokie. So I think Morton Grove is in the Skokie area. Let's see. If Goodwill stops selling sports card pallets, you moving in Facebook Marketplace to buy sports card collections. I've been looking at Facebook, and I've bought several things from Facebook Marketplace. There's just not much on Facebook Marketplace that I found. However, and I've talked about this in a previous show, I don't look often. And people say a lot of when you buy like a collection, or you find a pallet of cards and you post about it, there's always going to be at least one person that says, "Oh, I never find anything like that." And it's because you're not looking hard enough. And I know that sounds a little harsh, but it's the reality. If you look constantly or consistently, you will eventually find something. Now, I post these things, and I'm not finding. I wish I would find more. Like, it's not very often. Like, I'm getting a Goodwill pallet every 6 weeks or so, but I haven't bought a collection like off Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist in probably pre-pandemic. It's been a long time. There's just not much. I haven't found much value what I've seen locally, and I only look locally. I don't really expand my search outside of my southern Wisconsin, northern Illinois. Sometimes I'll look down in central Illinois if I'm going to be in that area, but I don't really expand it out because I have enough inventory. I don't want to like drive hours and hours for a collection when I still need to list thousands upon thousands of my own cards that are already, basically no additional cost to me. Yeah, there was a cost at some point in this inventory, but I don't have to shell out cash. It's basically listing free items. So I do check Craigslist. Craigslist less and less. Facebook Marketplace has definitely taken over as the premier, most common place to find bulk and collections. Just not much on Craigslist anymore that I've seen. Again, I'm not consistently looking. I'll check it out once a week maybe. But that's it. Leo says Baltimore Orioles take 7-foot left-hander Jared Beck would be MLB's tallest player ever. And who is the tallest? Who's the tallest? And I know there's been 7-footers in the minor leagues, so he's got a long way to go. See, tallest MLB player. Eddie Johnson's got to be up there. Let's see. Sean Hageli and John Rauch are the tallest at 6'11". I wonder how many 7-footers have been drafted in baseball. Now you've got me down a rabbit hole. I want to see, because I know there was one, I think he was Dutch. There was a Dutch minor league player that was like 7'2" or 7'1". Let's see. Boomslang, what is up? Dan says, let me know if I can help in any way when I'm there. I may put you to work, Dan. No, you come up and enjoy. This is your vacation. You just enjoy the show and look for some Burley cards. I know John Rauch was tall. He was 6'11". What's Aaron Judge? He's like 6'8". Let's see. So I found an article on USA Today about Jared Beck's draft. Let's see. John Rauch. There have been at least 2 minor league baseball players taller than Beck at 7'1". Dutch pitcher Luke Van Mill played 10 seasons in affiliated ball, mostly with the Twins, and Ryan Doherty pitched parts of 3 seasons in the Diamondback system before transitioning to professional beach volleyball. Very cool. So Jared Beck, Baltimore Orioles draft pick. Some other draft picks from day 3. So yesterday finished out the draft, rounds 11 through 20. Marquise Grissom Jr. was drafted, and he's a pitcher, by the way. Let's see. He was drafted by the Washington Nationals. Interesting. Let's see. Jackson Jeha. I don't know if I'm pronouncing. I know that's John Jeha. Jackson Jeha was drafted. He's a third baseman. Went to the Mets. Caden and Casey Dana. Let's see. They're brothers. They were drafted. Brothers drafted by the Angels drafted both of them. That's pretty cool. Jared Karros, Eric's son, was drafted by the Dodgers. Let's see. Oh, and we've got an ambidextrous draft pick from yesterday. Gerangelo Saginti. Brewers drafted him. He's a right-handed pitcher and a left-handed pitcher. He's a pro pitching prospect with both arms, reaching 96 miles per hour from the right side and 92 miles per hour from the left. He was an 18th round pick and might honor his commitment to Mississippi State. Brewers drafted him. That's pretty cool. Let's see. Andrew Cisco is tall. I have an Andrew Cisco bobblehead. He was in the Cubs system. I have a Lansing Lugnuts. He was 6'10". I have a Lansing Lugnuts Andrew Cisco ball. Ryan Doherty. Nick is with us. Ryan Doherty, beach volleyball player. Let's see. Ed says buying collections requires a constant search process. You may find a good buy 1% of the time, but you have to always be looking. It can be a frustrating process, but the payoff is worth it. Nailed it. That's the thing. Like, if you casually look, you're not going to find it because the good collections are going to go fast. Like, there was a collection. It was, it came for sale on Facebook Marketplace when I was back in the office. So it was during I worked from home for like, I don't know. But it was like when I went back to the office, it might have been when I went back to the office last year. But anyway, that's the point. Say it was a Wednesday night. I saw the post, and it was a bunch of sealed cases of like junk wax, but they were sealed cases, and they only wanted like $50 a case. And there was like a truckload of them. It was going to be like $700 or $800. But there was like just 20 cases or something crazy. So I reached out like right away. I'm like, it was a daughter selling for her dad. And she's like, you'll have to call this number at 10 o'clock tomorrow. So I call at 10 o'clock. I got put on hold. He was on the phone with somebody else. I got beat out by about 20 seconds. And somebody picked up 20 cases of junk wax. And I mean, the value and was just, would have been an insane amount. So that's how fast you have to be. Looking at Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, every couple days is not going to get it done to find the really good stuff. Let's see. Marvin Freeman trained Grissom's son. Cisco played in the KBO. Jenny says, I'm behind now. Had to help the roofer get the trailer in. We're on a loud house today now. New roof coming. I have a Hesop Choi Lugnuts bobblehead. Oh, that's cool. I didn't even know there was a Hesop Choi Lansing Lugnuts bobblehead. Now I have a new search on eBay. Let's see. Cliff says, when they say ambidextrous, they can't just swap sides on the mound, can they? I don't know how the rules are with that. I'm not sure how that works. I'm sure somebody in the chat can answer that. Dan says amphibious. He's an amphibious pitcher. Let's see. Low Roller says you should call 1 hour early to beat the competition. Well, that's ideally, if you know, and I don't think this person told me like call it 10. I think it was just here's the number. So I didn't call early enough. Boomslang says he is not the first ambidextrous pitcher. No, he's not. Pat Vendetti is one of them, and I'm sure there's others. Let's see. By the way, who is the player that is 6'10"? I think there's probably several 6'10" players. John Roush, and who was the other one? John Roush and somebody else was 6'11" that played Major League Baseball. Andy Sisko was 6'10". Luke Van Mill was 7'1". Ryan Doherty was 7'1". The pitcher has to declare what side he is going to pitch from at the start of the inning. Thank you, Boomslang. There you go. So at the start of the inning, they have to announce which side. So I'm at 1 hour. Thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned. Hopefully later today, I will have a SUV filled with baseball cards and football cards and trading cards. Why didn't you offer more money to beat the competition? I did. I did, but they honored the first caller. Jenny says, have fun picking up the pallet. I'm in meetings all night tonight, so won't make any live what's in the box. So I don't know if it is Wednesday, and that's typically when I do a live what's in the box. So I may do that. We'll see. I don't even know if it's going to be ready. I've got to reach out this morning to see if it's staged. So stay tuned. There will probably be some type of content if I do pick the pallet up today. Goodwill pallet number 6 coming at you. So I'll do some video content on this channel through the process. That's what I had for today. Thanks for tuning in. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. Might be back at it later today. May do a live tonight. If I pull out some boxes, I would imagine I will. So stay tuned. Tracy says, enjoy the pallet. I can imagine the fun going through it. Every pallet's just as fun as the last. I bought something on Craigslist a few weeks ago, a 1987 vendor box, Looney Tunes cards, and 5 unopened cello packs with Hall of Famers on top. Nice. So there you go. So there's still some deals to be found on Craigslist. So have a great Wednesday. I've got to go take out the trash. We will probably chat again tonight if I do a live video. So stay tuned. I'll keep you abreast on Twitter of the Goodwill pallet. So have a great day, and we'll talk to you later.